It's a lot of people right now, like me, who don't want to be at their job, who don't want to work their 9 to 5, who sick and tired, but they not maximizing their 9 to 5 to get their best benefit. And this is how hard work alone at your 9 to 5 is keeping you distracted. And I'm gonna talk about why you need to maximize your 9 to 5, how to maximize your 9 to 5, so that way you can make the most of your 9 to 5. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. So, the first thing that I did when I started my job recently is not recently, but about a year ago, is I came in with a plan. That's the first thing you need to do before you walk in any job. And they talk about this in business. Whenever you start in any business, you need to go into the entrance with your exit. Same thing if you invest in the stocks and trading. Before you enter, you need to know what your exit plan is. And the reason why they say that is because you need to know what your numbers are, what your goals are, or your KPIs, your metrics, all this business talk. You need to know what it is so that when you go in, this is exactly what I'm looking to get from this opportunity, and this is exactly what I want. So that way, when I get out of it, I can go do X, Y, and Z. So the first thing you need to do is set your plan. So for me, when I started my job, the plan was okay. I need to pay off debt and I need to save money and I want to invest. That's a lot. So I may not be able to do all at one time. So it's like, okay, maybe the first thing is to pay off debt and maybe save. You know what I'm saying? Let's try that. Okay, how much do you want to save? So that's the second goal. You need to set a goal financially, right? So you create a plan. So for me, it was to pay off debt, save, and invest. But I'm also want to use that money to build into my content. I also want to use that for my candle business, for my other businesses that I have, ideas that I have. I want to use that money to help grow those things. And so that was the plan. It's like we're going to use the money for this. So that way you know what your money is there for. You know that your money has a job, and you know where to put your money instead of saying, okay, the first check I'm spending on this, second check I spent on that, third check I blew it over here, fourth check I spent on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what you're going to do with your money. You already have in mind what kind of plan, what you want to do with your money. It doesn't mean that plans change, but at least having a realistic plan for when you go in, okay, I already know what I'm trying to do with this money and where I wanted to go. So that way everything else is kind of off the table. Second thing, like I said, is pick a goal financially. So whether it's okay, I want to save 5K, I want to save 10K, I want to use this job to save X amount of money so that way I can, go to school, or I want to use this job and save X amount of money so that way I can pivot into what I really want to do. Or I want to use this money, to pay for a trade or build my content or buy my first camera or whatever it is that you want to do. Have a financial goal about how much money you want to save. I'm not gonna tell you what my financial goal is because it sounds kind of crazy, but it's a lot of money, and for that, I'm also going to have to keep a tracker. So that's the third thing. I need to keep track of everything. I'm not gonna say you have to have a budget, but yes, you have to have a budget. But you need to keep track of how much you're putting towards that goal. So say if your goal is 5 grand, how much are you putting a week for 5 grand? You know what I mean? So you know how long is it gonna take me to save 5 grand. If it's 10 grand, if it's 20 grand, how much am I putting a week or 2 weeks towards this 5, 10, 15, 20 grand, so that way I know how many months I can expect to realistically be at this job. Because sometimes we wind up jobs longer than we anticipated because we don't really have no exit strategy. We don't really have no plan. And we going around mad at the job because we don't want to be here, but we don't really have an exit plan to get out of that. I've been there before, and I think the best thing is having a plan sometimes, because for me, I've always wanted to get out of my job now today. But I knew realistically I couldn't do that. And it hurt and it was hard. But I'm like, okay, all right, can I do 3 months? Can I do 6 months? Okay, if I can do 3 months and 6 months, what can I realistically make in 3 months and 6 months? And how can I use that? Can I save money? Can I invest? Can I whatever? If without those things, I don't even know if I'd have been able to have the energy, the mental capacity, which some days I don't, to even stay at my current job. You know what I mean? Because it's just too overwhelming some days. But when I have something like in my mind that this is what I'm working toward, it kind of keeps me motivated, because getting to that goal keeps me motivated. So 3 months has turned to 6 months, and 6 months has turned to 9 months. Have I taken full advantage of the 9, 10 months that I should have? As much as I could have, not fully. There's some things that I could have did better, but I think overall I did, you're not gonna be perfect. So I think overall I did the best that I could. But to make sure that I don't have another 9 months like the first 9 months, as I'm going on, I tightened up my plan. I've changed some things. I've made different numbers, different goal financially. And I've been tracking that. So I've been tracking how much debt I'm paying off. I've been tracking how much I'm saving. I've been tracking how much I'm spending. You know what I mean? And I'm tracking how much more I need to make to either speed up the timeline or whatever it is. The fourth thing I would say is you got to keep busy, man. Like, time goes by when you're having fun, even when you're not having fun. But if you keep busy, time goes by. So if that's working one job, if that's working 2 jobs for the next 6 months, whatever it is, if you keep busy, time goes by. Like, some days I don't like being home all day by myself. I do, but I don't like doing that for too many days in a row. So what I'm doing, I'm making videos. What I'm doing, I'm working overtime. What I'm doing, working regular. What I'm doing, I'm making candles. What I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? I'm spending time with my family. I'm doing something because that's gonna make the work days go by, the off days go by, this season of my life go by quicker, so that way I can get to my goal a lot faster. And so now I'm 10 months in. What are the next 10 months gonna look like? So this is how you stay distracted at your 9 to 5, man. You have to have a plan. You have to have a financial goal for yourself. I'm not a financial guru or nothing like that. I'm just telling you as somebody who's had nothing and who is not now starting to build, who is now building something. You gotta have a plan, man. Like, and it don't gotta be detailed. It's just gotta be something work for you. You know what I mean? Hey, my plan is I want to be a photographer. I need to buy a camera. That camera costs $3,000. I need to sell this. I need to save this many checks to get that 3K. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much? How? Okay, that's gonna take me 6 months. All right, well, let's lock in for 6 months. Or if I pick up a part-time job, or if I do some other stuff on the side that can take me 4 months now instead of 6 months. Okay, well, let me do that. And then once you keep it busy, the time it's gonna go by fast. Like, one thing I realized, and this wasn't part of the script, but one thing I realized when it came to life is how many 6 month periods have come and gone for you in your life. And I used to think about that. I said, man, like, how many times has 6 months come and gone? A bunch of times. So that means 6 months is gonna come and go like this. So if I set a plan and I stick to it, my 6 months is gonna be come and gone before you know it. Like, I'm coming up almost at a year mark for this job. I had no intentions of being there a year, but I'm almost there a year. And it's been slow, but it's been fast because I've been busy. Like, I've been keeping my head down. I've been working. And if you keep yourself busy, it's gonna go. 6 months, a year is gonna come and go regardless. What are you gonna do at that time? So, and you just repeat the process. That's it. You stack it up and you repeat. So this is my video. I hope this helps you, man. Create a plan, create a financial goal. It don't got to be a lot. You just need to create something that's going to work for you to get you to where you want to go. And if you want to make more, you know what I'm saying, more money quicker, that's going to help you get to your goal faster. So if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, peace.